You're live.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's let the Committee on Development and Planning come to order. It is 4 p.m. Let the record reflect that all committee members are present. And with that, I'd take a motion for the minutes of February 9th, 2026.
So moved.
Okay, we got a proper motion in place. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passed. Okay. Now we're to public comment. Is there anybody here from the public that would like to speak? Not seeing anyone here. Anybody online? Okay. All right, we'll move on then. We are to our first discussion action item. That is B, resolution to set in a public hearing on Z2 2026 at 332 Townsend Street, rezoning from DT3 downtown core to RAR residential adaptive reuse. And who is here to speak on that? All right, floor is yours.
Thank you. This is a request to rezone 332 Townsend from DT3 downtown core to RAR residential adaptive reuse. Facilitate the request for a special land use permit for a shelter care facility, which in the RAR district. A shelter care facility is allowable use in RAR with an SLU approved by city council, but not in the DT3 district. The RAR zoning district is intended to accommodate the reuse of buildings, generally, and allow the new utilization of large sites. In practice, this is applied to schools, churches, and some institutional properties. As such, the designation is generally unique and scattered and not a concentrated district like most of the other zoning districts that spread through, different areas of the city. An RAR designation would limit the property to residential and office uses and is less intense than the DT3 district. The subject property has a vacant two-story building that would be converted to shelter space for, I believe, approximately 56 individuals, unhoused individuals. And I'll let Shelby Freyer here speak more to their operations, but staff believes this is an appropriate location and use for the property. It is out of the downtown corridor of Washington Avenue, but is still near the bus station, the library, and other organizations that provide services and resources for the target population. This particular location is surrounded by multi-story office buildings and off-street parking lots, largely owned by the state of Michigan, Ingham County Courts, and the city of Lansing. There is one apartment building immediately to the east, and City Rescue Mission recently relocated southwest, just less than a block away. They too sought a rezoning to RAR and an SLU to establish at their new location. One planning commission member made a comment expressing concern about concentrating the city's unhoused population along Kalamazoo Street corridor. Staff still believes this is an appropriate location, given that it's not along the main Washington Avenue corridor, but it's still accessible in an area of offices and large parking lots that are unlikely to be redeveloped, given that their property owners are institutional and government users. And Ms. Freyer can probably also speak to how the location may make things easier on everyone. We just think that that location is kind of unique and kind of offers a buffer from some of the other areas of, that commission member made a comment about some of the redevelopment that's going downtown, how they might conflict. We just don't see the same conflict. Staff did not receive any negative feedback or correspondence in opposition to the request. One person at the planning commission meeting attended to learn more about the request and did state a general concern about over concentration, but did not explicitly state their opposition to the request. And the planning commission voted 6-0 unanimously to recommend approval of both the rezoning and the special land use request.
Okay. Now I guess I kind of understand, or I guess I want to go and talk a little bit about that one committee member that had the question about concentrating people in the Kalamazoo area. Now, has there been in consideration that potentially the state workers may not come back and they might end up selling the ramps downtown, or some of them? Is any of them state owned ramps right now that aren't being utilized because the state workers aren't downtown?
I don't know that we know enough of that. I think for us also to comment, that is a lot of speculation going into this year being a gubernatorial election. And as far as I've read into it, I think all three candidates are slightly different on their answer. And so I think for the city to opine on that, I would have to wait for the November election to know what the next governor is intending for state workers, because we're hearing different things right now from the candidates running. I'd like to think that that's a impact that doesn't affect this question on hand as far as we reviewed it.
Committee members, do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, can you share a little bit more about the 56 units? You said 2-story, either share a little bit more about how would this impact the unhoused population? What's the protocol? What are the metrics of utilizing those spaces?
It's okay with the committee, I would defer to you.
Do you want me to hit my PowerPoint presentation or just with one-off question or how? I think I addressed some of that when I talk about the programming of the day center and the overnight shelter piece. But to answer your question specifically, it's overnight guests will be for families and veterans. And kind of a unique family makeup. So we focus on single dads because they have no other options in the city at all for shelter. And also moms and dads if they're a couple, or potentially teens over the age of 13. They have no other place to go. Most of the shelters are for mother and children, which is wonderful. But those kind of three demographics seem to get left out a lot of other sheltering options. So we prioritize those. So families with dads, older teens are our focus. And that's about 30 individuals. And then we have space for 26 veterans that are homeless as well through the VA program. So it's really focused on those two populations for overnight. And then we have a day center component on kind of that second floor, which I can show you too.
Yeah, if you don't mind going through your PowerPoint, and then if we have any additional questions or comments.
Hopefully I'll answer more. Yeah, okay. Let me jump in now. Okay. So Shelby Freyer, I founded the Nest year really out of a need. So I was asked actually about a year ago to help with the fundraiser for Homeless No More, that's the Hope Community Center, which is right on Larch, so that big white and blue building near the ballpark. And that kind of morphed into where I'm at today. So the shelter itself was really struggling financially. And so New Hope was really a child of the parent company, Holy Cross. And Holy Cross has been experiencing financial troubles for several years. And so I got asked to come in, and my background's really more finance and operations. So I got asked to come in and help restructure New Hope Community Center, just from a financial operations standpoint. It quickly morphed into a lot more than that. So on the first page here, currently our facility housed about 200 people, or is housing right now. Through the end of March, we have single men and women overnight shelter, and then we also have 22 beds for vets and then families. We've been working with the City Rescue Mission as they've expanded their capacity, so we can take even more families right now, which has been a big need for us this winter. We also offer a day center program, which is really important. I'm going to talk about in just a second. Things like mail services, I didn't realize were such a need, but when you think about it, you still have to get, whether it's your insurance card or bank card or whatever it's going to be, still has to come to you at a location. So we do mail for hundreds of people that need a mailing address. We also have laundry services for free, so folks can come in and wash clothes. In addition to serving meals, we serve right now about 6,000 meals a month, which is a huge need. So even if you're not staying with us overnight, you can still come in and grab 3 meals a day if you want it. As I mentioned, the City Rescue Mission has dramatically expanded, and they actually went through a rezone. I think it was about 2 years ago now for their location. So they're doubling the size of what they can provide, which has just been a huge blessing for our community. And this started kind of taking shape this summer when on this map, this is the best way, and you guys know downtown Lansing, so this isn't hard to describe, but in the top right-hand corner here, where the X is, that's our current location, the big white and blue building. The building itself is old. It's not a great facility. We only operate 2 floors of 5, so it's terribly inefficient. It's also the location itself for families. Like there's no park, you're right on a busy street, so kids have no place to go. It's just not a great location anyways, but it was there. We were making it work. City Rescue Mission had about 100 men in their facility right across from the Meijer. You probably saw folks in and out. And then they also had, a lot of people didn't know about this, but like a drop-in area right across the street from us that did 70 tables and chairs for folks to be able to come in and not get a bed, but at least get out of the elements, receive some sort of shelter. So really between our 3 buildings, we're housing almost 400 folks, which is a significant amount of people in, again, a consolidated area. One of the things that New Hope offered that no place else does is a day center. So people, even if you don't stay with us overnight, can come in, receive meals, mail, laundry. But then we also, a big part for us is we do case management. So if somebody walks in and doesn't have their vital docs, like a birth certificate or driver's license, we help them with the paperwork to get one. We have Secretary of State come monthly to meet all of our folks. Mobile health clinic from McLaren comes twice a week to actually see folks, which are keeping our emergency rooms less flooded. So we provide critical services to folks on site every day. And we're the only program that does that. So when City Rescue Mission closed their 2 locations over the summer, and they moved to their new spot off Kalamazoo, which is beautiful. If you haven't been inside, they really did a nice job. And they're going to have their expanded capacity here. But what we started seeing is that folks now are having a hard time getting from building to building. So when they exit their folks at 8 a.m., they have no place to go, right, except to hang out downtown until this place opens back up again, or make their 1.5 mile march to us for our day program, which at least these most recent ones with weather has been difficult with your life on your back. Like that's a hard commute for folks that don't have transportation. And so this started not making a lot of sense. The building's inefficient. We couldn't afford it anymore. The services now are too far apart for them to actually receive the benefits of what we were doing. So we started looking at a new building closer to them, which brings us to our rezone ask today. So I talked a little bit about the financial, the building. Solution obviously is to move closer. And so our new site now that we're asking for is really like kitty corner from the City Rescue Mission. It's the old Beer and Wine Association building that's there. It's a beautiful space. Partly it was already set up. A lot of the offices will be converted into bedrooms for families or veterans, which we're really excited about. You can also see here the court, which our folks, you can get birth certificates there, friend of the court's there. A lot of services that our folks receive anyways now are much easier to get to. The Rudder Park, where folks, now our kids can actually have a park to go play in, which will be wonderful. Further down the library, CATA, everything becomes kind of condensed. So one of the comments was made, well, you're just bringing more unhoused to a certain, location. And that was actually on purpose. We wanted that so that services are all accessible for folks that need them, because a lot of our folks don't have vehicles. And so this makes it much more accessible for them to receive the services that they need in one area. And partly too, the City Rescue Mission, if they're housing 400 overnight and at 8 a.m. say, okay, everybody, we'll see you back at 5. You guys think homeless downtown is bad now? It will become much worse when we're not open, right? So our building is sold. We have to be out. And so our proposal here is to move much closer so that we can consolidate these services. And again, we're housing families and veterans overnight. It's not like a 400 additional adults. It's families and vets in this area right here. Just a quick picture of the building if you guys don't remember what it looked like here. And then the layout here is really neat. So rather than having 5 levels, it's really kind of a bi-level. So you walk in at ground level, which is great. And folks will be able to come in and receive their mail. Laundry services will be up here. And then we have kind of a veterans wing that will be separately secured. And then a family wing, again, that's separately secured. So folks aren't necessarily commingling. It's staffed 24/7 with security inside and out. And on the next level here, this is where our day center will be. So folks will be able to come in and either receive elevator down or stairs down to our day center. This is where we'll also serve meals. And then one of the things that a couple of things we're really excited about, you'll see a new food pantry. So one of the things we've noticed downtown is that a lot of pantries are open from, Sunday 12 to 2 or whatever. And if you're not available that window, a lot of times you miss your opportunity. So we wanted to have something more accessible on a regular basis for folks to be able to come in and grab either grab and go kits or at least a box of food to get through the week for our families, our vets, or really anybody else that needs it. We're also adding a shower to our day center area, which is really a big deal for us. So right now, if you're in an encampment and you want to come take a shower, it's really difficult for us to maneuver our staffing to pull somebody off to go watch the shower room. So one of our big ads was making sure we had a shower available 24/7. So even if you're not staying with us overnight, if you're in an encampment, a park, a bridge, you can still come in, grab a shower, grab a meal, grab a kit to go, see a case manager if you need help or services, grab your mail, laundry, whatever it is you need to do. It will be 100% accessible to anybody, even if they're not overnight guests with us. So we're really excited about all these things. There's just my email in case there's any more questions. I know that was a lot and a little. Are there any questions about operations or intent?
I think it's wonderful. Where's the funding coming from? How's the funding stream work?
I've been fundraising a lot over the last 6 months. So I've received about $900 so far in donations. And that's just from meeting with anybody that will take a meeting and asking for money. A couple big foundations saw the need and wanted to help out, which has been great. And then the building itself will be mortgaged, the purchase. So it's been a new nonprofit board has been established. So we're following all the right rules and procedures to get everything up and going. Holy Cross is still a partner right now. They receive operational grants that keep day-to-day services going. And so they've agreed to stay on alongside of this until those things can be transferred over to the new entity. So it's really been a complicated fundraising and plan, but we're pulling it together because it's the right thing to do. And otherwise there'd be 200 more homeless on the street and no day services. And it would be really, really bad for downtown. So this was something that just had to be done.
Oh, just one second. So just regarding like that, I mean, fundraising, I mean, how long has this been around and how long have you guys been maintaining the current facility right now?
So Volunteers of America started the program, I think in '98, the current building on Larch. And then Holy Cross took it over about 6 years ago. And so Holy Cross has been running it since then. And then the goal is for Holy Cross eventually to sell that property because they can't afford it anymore. And that's why this new entity was born, was to kind of save services that would otherwise be lost. And so the Nest was set up about in August or September, we filed our articles. So we've been around now for 6 months, 5 months, and have fundraised obviously to pay for the cost of construction and acquire the property. And then the Holy Cross grants will help fund us operationally until we're able to transfer those.
Now, will you be seeking funds from the city at all?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, how long can folks stay at your shelters?
So both programs are a little bit different. The VA for the vets, they have a 1.5 year limit, and it's more kind of transitional housing type program. So we really encourage them to, find a place, get secured, and move. And then families don't have necessarily a hard and fast timeline. We would like folks to, 6 to 12 months would be the sweet spot for us. A lot of times when a family comes in, sometimes they might not have shoes, let alone a job or a place. So we try to meet them where they are. So we figure out kind of what's missing, whether it's those vital docs, or maybe their kids needs to be, enrolled in school, or they need help finding a job, or just even how to apply for a job. And so we kind of problem solve with them. What are the barriers to actually receiving a permanent place to stay? One of the struggles that we have is, the vouchers that everyone's kind of waiting on. The last numbers I had were, I think it was 850 names on a list, and they gave out like 73 last year. So less than 10% even receive that magic ticket to get a housing plan. So it's difficult for folks to, once they come in and we get them, stabilized, that next step is actually finding housing, and a place to go. And even beyond that too, I think a lot of the folks return because they didn't have the right skill set, before they left. And so it's all those things, trying to case manage to make sure that we get them on their feet, and then hopefully they never come back into a shelter facility again. But so families don't have a hard and fast, you've got 90 days, but we certainly set goals for them. You need to be doing these things by Friday. We need to meet with you again. We need to work on your housing plan so that they're not coming in and getting comfortable necessarily, but, putting some real goals in place for them.
Are you keeping data on how long usually it takes a family to kind of graduate towards the next steps and success rates of housing folks permanently?
Yep, we also use the HMIS system, if you've heard of it. So we have all that data from anybody that's ever stayed and all their demographics. So, yeah.
So what would you say is like your success rate with families and veterans?
It kind of depends. Some of our families, depending on the makeup, have either gotten employment in another city and they're able to move to that city because they were able to find work, or potentially a family member was willing to, take them back, or whatever it might be. So it kind of depends on how you determine success. For us, if you're not in shelter, you're a success. Right now, is that a better place for them, or is that easier? That's hard to say. But a few of our families have been lucky enough to get vouchers, which has been really great. But there's still a lot more waiting. So we work other agencies like Haven House or Eve, or depending on the situation, what other resources are available. City Rescue Mission has taken a bunch of our families too. So it just depends on their makeup and where we can kind of place them. But we try to move them along as quick as we can. It's just, unfortunately, there's not enough housing available for a lot of our folks. So.
Questions? Okay. So we will be setting the public hearing on March 9th for March 23rd. Would you guys all be available for that evening, 7 o'clock, do a presentation for the rest of the council?
I'm sorry.
It's not March 9th. It goes to council the 26th and the 23rd of March will be the
Council on February.
Yeah,
Oh, so we're setting it on the
or
23rd.
23rd. I said 26th. I meant 23rd, yes.
Setting it on the 23rd, and then the hearing will be on March
March
23rd.
23rd, correct.
Okay. And you guys will be available to do your presentation then? Great. Any further questions from the committee? Looking for a motion then.
So moved.
Okay, we have a proper motion in place. All those in favor, please state by saying aye. Motion passes. Moving down to resolution C, setting a public hearing for special land use 2026, special land use permit 33-2 Townsend Street to allow shelter care facility in the R-AR residential adaptive reuse district. That's a lot. Okay. So you guys want to just go over this, explain it again, something like we did similar, I can't talk, to the church on MLK.
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of explained both of them kind of
Yeah.
together, but yeah, a special, or excuse me, a shelter care facility is a special land use, and RAR, DT2 and MXC and institutional 1. So they're not permitted by right in any of the districts, just because of the nature of the request. And yeah, I'm not sure what else to add.
Okay.
You approve the rezoning,
Oh, thank you.
then the SLU would be the second question. You can't approve the SLU without the rezone.
Prior to the
Yeah.
rezone.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, any additional questions from the committee? No, okay, pretty cut and dry. All right, then I'll look for a motion. Okay, we have proper motion in place. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Perfect. Case, any other business before the body? And none. Okay, with that, we are adjourned at 4:21. Thank you all.